If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns are once again making headlines, but this time it's not just about their quarterback battle or the annual question of whether the team can finally turn things around. FS1's Colin Cowherd has ignited a firestorm of speculation, suggesting that major changes could be coming to Cleveland in 2025, not just at quarterback, but at the very top with a potential head coaching change. According to Cowherd, the Browns might be eyeing an explosive new pairing, elite Texas quarterback prospect Arch Manning, and none other than college football legend Nick Saban. If you're thinking that sounds far-fetched, think again. Cowherd isn't just tossing around wild theories. He's connecting some very real dots involving relationships, power circles, and insider whispers that suggest this isn't just a fantasy. It's something actively brewing behind closed doors. For Browns fans, the idea of finally securing a top-tier quarterback and one of the greatest coaches in football history could be the dream scenario they've waited decades for. Let's break down how this could actually happen. First, we have to consider the state of the current Browns roster. Outside of a tough, reliable front seven on defense and wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, there are question marks all over the field. The offensive line is in flux. The running back situation is far from elite, and perhaps most importantly, there is no clear starting quarterback going into training camp. Deshaun Watson's availability and effectiveness remain uncertain, and behind him are only unproven options. Head coach Kevin Stefanski is under immense pressure to find the right guy to lead this team, but what if that decision doesn't even matter in the long run? What if the front office is simply buying time until 2025 when they can make a splash move that completely resets the franchise? That's the scenario Colin Cowherd is pointing to, and it's got everyone buzzing. The core of Cowherd's claim lies in the deep web of relationships that connect Nick Saban to Browns owner Jimmy Haslam. According to Cowherd, Haslam's circle of trust includes Jimmy Sexton, Saban's agent, the Manning family, and legendary coach Bill Parcells. That's not a coincidence. Arch Manning, of course, is the highly touted quarterback for the Texas Longhorns and the latest prodigy from the famed Manning lineage. He's expected to enter the NFL draft in 2025 as one of the top quarterback prospects. Now imagine a scenario where the Browns have another disappointing season, finish near the bottom of the league, and land a top 3 pick. That puts them in prime position to draft Arch Manning. And if you think Nick Saban wouldn't come out of retirement for a chance to coach a Manning at the NFL level, you might want to reconsider. Saban's connection to the Mannings has always been strong. He's mentored Eli and Peyton at different stages, maintained close ties with the family, and is deeply respected in their inner circle. If Arch is looking for a trusted figure to guide his NFL journey, Saban would be at the top of that list. Now, throw Jimmy Haslam into the mix, a man desperate to finally build a winning franchise, and you've got a very intriguing alignment of interests. Haslam has long admired Saban's leadership and football mind, and if Sexton, Saban's longtime agent, is involved in the conversation, you can be sure it's not just smoke. This could be a real opportunity for the Browns to make a franchise-defining move that alters their trajectory for the next decade. For fans, it might finally signal the end of the never-ending rebuild. Of course, there are massive implications for current head coach Kevin Stefanski. After leading the Browns to the playoffs in 2020 and winning Coach of the Year, things have gone downhill. The offense has been inconsistent, and despite having one of the league's better defensive units, the team hasn't been able to capitalize. If Stefanski can't turn things around this year, it won't just be his job that's in jeopardy. It could mark the end of this current regime entirely. Cowherd suggests that whoever Stefanski names as starting quarterback in 2025 could very well determine his future. Pick the right guy, maybe buy yourself another year. Pick the wrong guy, and you're out, replaced by arguably the greatest college coach of all time and a rookie phenom with a Hall of Fame last name. No pressure, right? There's also the question of how appealing the Browns situation would be to Saban. While he's never coached in the NFL successfully, his time with the Miami Dolphins is widely considered a disappointment. He's a different man now, older, wiser, and with nothing left to prove in college. The NFL could represent one final challenge before retirement. And if the challenge comes with a quarterback he trusts, an ownership group with deep pockets, and a chance to restore one of the league's most loyal fan bases to relevance, it might be too enticing to ignore. Plus, the timing aligns. Saban's already stepped away from college coaching, And Manning would be a rookie needing guidance. The stars are aligning, and for once, they're pointing toward Cleveland, not away from it. What about Arch Manning himself? Despite limited playing time so far in college, he's still projected to be one of the top picks in the 2025 draft. Scouts rave about his mechanics, football IQ, and of course, the bloodline. Arch comes from the most storied quarterback family in NFL history, and there's a belief that, given the right environment, he could surpass even his uncles. That right environment would require stability, mentorship, and a coach who understands how to develop elite talent. Nick Saban checks all those boxes. If Arch enters the draft knowing that Saban could be coaching him at the next level, that might influence his own decision-making. Some quarterbacks are wary of dysfunctional franchises, but Saban's presence could legitimize the Browns overnight. It's a calculated risk, but one that could pay off in spectacular fashion. Of course, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that the NFL is a different beast and that Saban's past failure in the pros should be a cautionary tale. Others question whether Arch Manning will truly live up to the hype, especially after a slow start in college. But that's the thing about the NFL, it's a league built on bold moves. Playing it safe rarely works. Just ask the franchises who've spent decades cycling through mediocrity. Cleveland's history is filled with cautionary tales, failed experiments, and almost seasons. This could be their chance to finally swing big and hit. It's risky, yes, but if it works, it changes everything. It turns Cleveland from a perennial punchline into a serious contender, and that's worth the gamble, especially when you're already stuck in football purgatory. As training camp rolls on, the pressure on Stefanski and the current quarterback room is only going to intensify. Every throw, every rep, every decision will be dissected not just through the lens of 2025 but through the possibility that it might not even matter. That's the cruel irony. The players and coaches currently fighting for jobs might already be part of a dead-end plan. If Haslam truly is planning a total reset, then this season becomes less about winning and more about survival. The idea of grooming a quarterback who could be a bridge to Manning is plausible. The idea of keeping the seat warm for Nick Saban, even more so. And in the NFL, when the writing's on the wall, you either change the narrative or become another chapter in someone else's story. For Browns fans, the next few months could be a roller coaster. On one hand, the possibility of another losing season feels familiar, almost expected. But on the other, there's now this incredible buzz, this potential for something truly transformative on the horizon. Arch Manning and Nick Saban in Cleveland? That's not just a headline, that's a storyline straight out of Hollywood. It's the kind of move that shifts the balance of power in the AFC. It might sound too good to be true, but the connections are real, the timing is perfect, and the motivations align. So don't write it off just yet. This isn't just another Colin Cowherd hot take. This could be the beginning of something historic. Stay tuned. Cleveland might be ready to shock the world. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. It started as a whisper, the kind of low-frequency buzz that only true insiders catch wind of. The kind that floats through team facilities, passed between scouts and assistants, never quite making it into the mainstream until boom, it becomes undeniable. STEFON DIGGS. Yes, that's STEFON DIGGS. The elite wide receiver who's been the heart and soul of Buffalo's aerial attack might just be heading to Cleveland. You heard that right. The Browns, long seen as a franchise stuck in the mud, are rumored to have pulled off the kind of move that sends shockwaves through the NFL. No one saw this coming. Or maybe we should have. Tensions in Buffalo have been brewing for over a season. Cryptic tweets, sideline frustrations, and interviews filled with subtle shade. Something was off, and now Cleveland might just be on the verge of completing one of the boldest wide receiver trades in recent memory. Let's not pretend the signs weren't there. Anyone paying attention could tell something wasn't sitting right with Diggs in Buffalo. Despite putting up monster numbers, despite being Josh Allen's top weapon, something was brewing beneath the surface. The chemistry looked forced. The smiles after touchdown seemed strained. It's as if Diggs was searching for something more respect, more opportunity, or maybe just a fresh start. And Cleveland, it's a team that's been trying to rebrand its image for years, with a defense that's finally elite and a front office not afraid to take big swings. This might be the perfect storm. Pair Diggs with a revitalized Deshaun Watson, and suddenly, the Browns go from fringe playoff hopefuls to legitimate AFC contenders. That's not exaggeration, that's cold analysis. And if this move really goes through, it could redefine both franchises for the next 5 seasons. Sources close to this situation are hinting that this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. Apparently, the Browns have had their eyes on Diggs. For a while, discussions reportedly began quietly, behind closed doors, with only the most trusted insiders looped in. No leaks, no media frenzy, just business. But when those talks started heating up, that's when things got interesting. Rumor has it that the Browns were willing to offer a compelling package, picks, future assets, and maybe even a player or two to sweeten the deal. Buffalo, caught between wanting to keep their star happy and knowing that his time might be up, had to listen. Sometimes, in the NFL, it's about reading the room. And in this case, Buffalo may have decided it was better to cash and then to keep pushing a relationship that clearly had cracks. Imagine the Browns' offense with Diggs in the mix. It's not just about adding talent, it's about adding a game changer, a tone setter. A player who demands double coverage and opens up the field for everyone else. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, David Njoku, they all suddenly become more dangerous. And Deshaun Watson, well, if there was ever a time for him to return to his Pro Bowl form, it's now. With Diggs running precise routes, making contested catches, and bringing that dog mentality, the Browns could be turning a corner we never saw coming. For years, Cleveland has been mocked, doubted, dismissed, but moves like this, they change narratives, they force people to pay attention. If the rumor holds true and all signs suggest it might, Cleveland just sent a message to the rest of the league: we're done being the underdogs. Now let's flip it. What does this mean for Buffalo? Losing a talent like STEFON Diggs isn't just about statistics or fantasy value, it's about locker room presence, it's about identity. Since arriving in Buffalo, Diggs has been the spark that made the offense go. He opened up Josh Allen's potential, gave him a trusted target, and made defensive coordinators lose sleep. So how do the Bills move forward from this? Some insiders believe the team has been planning for this possibility for a while. Young receivers like Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid are expected to step up. But let's be real, replacing Diggs won't be easy. The chemistry he had with Allen took years to build, and now the Bills may be asking their QB to rebuild that trust from scratch. Not ideal, especially in an AFC packed with powerhouse offenses. Buffalo's Super Bowl window, it might have just gotten a whole lot smaller. Diggs' departure, if confirmed, could also spark ripple effects across the league. Teams in the AFC North will have to game plan differently. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, they'll all take notice. Defensive coordinators now have to figure out how to contain a new version of the Browns. But more than that, other teams may start reevaluating their own wide receiver situations. We're entering an era where star players aren't afraid to move. They want control. They want input. They want to win. And Diggs' rumored jump from Buffalo to Cleveland is just another chapter in that ongoing shift. If it's true, it's not just a blockbuster trade, it's a cultural moment. One that redefines player empowerment and forces old-school franchises to adapt or get left behind. Cleveland might be leading a movement they never expected to be a part of. There's also the question of fit. Sure, Diggs is a phenomenal player, but will he mesh with Watson? Will the Browns' offensive scheme maximize his strengths? Sources suggest that Kevin Stefanski has already started sketching up plays to feature Diggs in motion, in the slot, out wide, everywhere. The idea is to keep defenses guessing, and when Diggs is happy, motivated, and fed the ball early, he's nearly unstoppable. But chemistry isn't automatic. It takes time, reps, and trust. If Cleveland truly wants to unlock the Diggs we saw in his first 2 years with Buffalo, they'll need to build that relationship quickly, off the field. Reports suggest Diggs is excited for a new environment, a new city, a new fan base, and Cleveland, they're already rolling out the red carpet. The city is buzzing. And if the deal becomes official, that buzz could turn into full-on celebration. Media reaction has been swift and intense. Twitter's in meltdown. Fans are posting jersey edits, reaction videos, even fake Madden trades. Sports radio is exploding with hot takes. From this makes the Browns Super Bowl favorites to Diggs is a diva, and Cleveland's making a mistake. But what's clear is this: people are talking about the Browns. When's the last time that happened outside of a draft night or controversy? This is different. This is momentum. And Cleveland, for once, is at the center of the football universe for all the right reasons. Whether you love the move or hate it, it demands attention, and that, in itself, is a kind of victory. A decade ago, a move like this would have been unthinkable. But now, the Browns are no longer just participating, they're dictating the pace. That's what power looks like in today's NFL, and let's not forget the emotional layer. Diggs was beloved in Buffalo. Bills Mafia is passionate, loyal, and emotionally invested in their stars. Losing Diggs won't be easy for them. Social media is already flooded with farewell posts, highlights, and thank you messages. He helped turn the franchise around. He was there for the leap from playoff hopeful to Super Bowl threat, and now it feels like the end of an era, but football is brutal like that. Heroes leave, new ones arrive. It's a constant cycle of change, adaptation, and evolution. Diggs gave Buffalo everything he had, and now it's Cleveland's turn. The Browns fan base is already dreaming big, stadiums packed, playoff berths, maybe even the elusive Super Bowl run, all because of one player. It's amazing how one name can shift the emotional compass of the entire cities. That's the Diggs effect, and it's real. So what happens next? Will the Browns confirm the trade in a press conference with Diggs holding up the jersey? Will Buffalo make a counter move to reassure their fans that the window is still open? Is there another twist waiting in the wings? That's the beauty of rumors. They leave just enough space for imagination, speculation, and drama. What we know is that this story is still unfolding. But make no mistake, if Stefon Diggs really is heading to Cleveland, it's one of the most seismic moves of the NFL offseason. A gamble, maybe a game changer, absolutely. And for fans of chaos, of transformation, and of pure football theater, this might be the plot twist we didn't see coming but now can't stop talking about. Stefon Diggs in orange and brown. It might sound strange today, but soon it could become the new normal. Stay tuned. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!